Welkom bij een nieuwe aflevering van Over Eten, een podcast voor nieuwsgierige eters en drinkers. Elke aflevering ga ik op zoek naar culinaire kennis, leuke verhalen, gastronomische avonturen en hoop ik om zo meer te weten over eten. Ik ben Stijn de Schacht. Welkom alweer bij een nieuwe aflevering van Over Eten. Vandaag gaan we vanuit Brussel eigenlijk binnen onze landsgrenzen de landsgrenzen overschrijden. Vandaag zit ik samen met Obada, die een organisatie heeft die We Exist heet. We Exist is een organisatie die voor en door Syriërs gerund wordt. Mensen die ontsnapt zijn aan moeilijke tijden in hun thuisland en die op basis of dankzij eten eigenlijk een plaats in de maatschappij proberen te vinden. En ik denk dat het wel een heel belangrijk en heel interessant thema is. Obad, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
You've started We Exist back in 2016. Can you tell me a little bit more about what We Exist is actually about?
I started We Exist in 2016 because of the lack of job opportunities for Syrian newcomers in the labor market of Belgium. We can say there are a lot of discrimination about people who are coming because they don't have the language, they don't have the criteria to enter the labor market immediately. So it started with me personally because I was applying here and there to have a work, and I was refused all the time. Some of the organization or the companies who refused me, they told me that we refused you, unfortunately, because you are a refugee or you come from Syria. So here I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, I'm not alone in this situation. There are more than 100,000 in the same situation, Syrians who arrived to Brussels or to Belgium. So I'm gonna start something to help myself and to help other Syrians who are in the same situation. And I was thinking what groups people or gather people around one table, and the only thing actually who gather people around one table is food and alcohol. So I started We Exist to create job opportunities for Syrian newcomers who fled war and persecution, who came from Syria in 2015, or the newcomers in general. What we do, we started with the dinners in Quaker's house. It's here in Square and Burex. We started with 90 contacts in a mailing list. After 3 years now, we have more than 4,000 in our mailing list. We started with dinners, and then we start growing up the business, or we can say the organization, to start doing several dinners and several events in several restaurants around Brussels. Mainly we do in the restaurants called La Demoiselle in Saint-Gilles. We do it on Saturdays, 1 or twice a month. And then we start developing also our work more. So we start doing catering services for professional and non-professional events, for conferences, birthdays, marriage parties. Then we took a step forward again. We start doing cooking courses. And now we are searching for a space to open a restaurant where it will be a culture and culinary exchange center that we can hire more people to be employed full-time and to have jobs. And at the same time to transfer our food or our culture in a nice way to the Belgian society.
So how many people do you have working with you right now?
For the moment, we have one person who are fully employed. It's not easy to hire people here in Belgium. It's super expensive. But the rest are all volunteers still. Now we are waiting for the moment where we have the space to have more stability to be able to hire the volunteers that they are volunteering with us.
Okay, that is awesome. Obviously, you've started in 2016. I will assume that's not the year when you came to Belgium.
The year after.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your story in Syria and how you arrived here in Belgium?
Okay, well, that's a bit tense. I'm originally from Syria, from Damascus. When the war started, I stayed there for 1 year. And then I fled Syria in 2012. I went to Egypt, then to Turkey. I was traveling between Egypt and Turkey, but mainly in Egypt. I tried to cross the sea from Egypt to Italy. because I couldn't stay anymore in Egypt because they didn't accept to prolong my residency in Egypt. I tried to cross the sea to go to Italy. I was sinking in the sea for 2 times. Then I went back to Egypt, and then I canceled a bit the idea to go to Europe because it was really scary. I was in the sea. I saw a lot of people dying, a lot of people sinking. I was super lucky that I'm still alive. Then when I went back, I canceled the idea of going to Europe. But at a certain point, I was sitting in Egypt. I had everything that I wanted. I had my car. We had our business there. I had literally everything that I wanted, or any young person will need in his life. But I couldn't use anything because I didn't have papers. Because if you are rich in Egypt, or if you have business, you cannot be a refugee. You need to prolong your passport and to prolong your residency, and I couldn't because of some reasons. Then I couldn't take it anymore, so I was like, or I will die while I'm trying, or they will send me back to Syria and I will die in Syria. So no, I prefer to die while I'm trying. So I had a talk with my dad, so he told me, would you want still to go to Europe? I was like, of course. Like, I really want. I cannot stay like this inside four walls. I was like just sitting in the house. So I decided to go to Turkey, and from Turkey to cross to Greece. I went to Turkey because Turkey in that time was taking people without any passport. Just say you are Syrian, show that even if your passport is expired, you enter the plane, you just show them the passport, you enter the plane, you go to Turkey. You don't need anything. I went to Turkey, I found a smuggler, and I crossed to Greece. It was difficult. I continued the swimming with 2 kids on my back at the end. I arrived to Lesbos, and then my trip started. Went to Athens, from Athens to Macedonia, Serbia, Hungary, Austria, Germany here. I arrived here, I applied for my refugee status.
Just to get an idea, you've arrived in Lesbos when, and how long did it take you to make the trip via Athens and Macedonia and Serbia all the way to Belgium?
I arrived exactly to Lesbos on 12th of August 2015. I arrived to Belgium on 24th of August. It took me 12 days, 13 days. I arrived, then I asked for the permission to go to Athens. From Athens, I continued my trip as I mentioned. I arrived here, I asked for the refugee status, and we stand against the word refugee. I don't like the word refugee here. Belgium, it carries a lot of discrimination, unfortunately. I arrived, I asked for the status, I did the fingerprint. They sent me to one the one newcomer center, reception center. It was in a small village, it's called Floren. It's after Charleroi with 1.5 hours by bus. And my room was a tent. It was freezing at night, so I really couldn't take it anymore staying there. Social assistants there, they don't speak any language except French. I didn't understand how did they expect me to speak French. After 3 days, I arrived. I don't know, and they refused to speak any other language. There is no translators, nothing. So communication, it's zero. You cannot communicate with anyone. I couldn't stay there. I escaped there. I came back to Brussels. I started volunteering in Red Cross as a freelance. I started volunteering in Maximilian Park. I started sleeping at friends' places till I got my status in December. I did one interview. I was very lucky. I got my papers in one interview. It was amazing. And then I started looking for apartment everywhere. I think I got kicked out of more than 70 apartments in 3 months. Just because when I mention I'm Syrian, they just tell me, no, sorry, out. I was like, okay. At the end, I found very little studio, very damaged, full of humidity, for very high price, but it was my only option. So I took it and I started looking for job. And when I start looking for jobs, it was the same scenario. When they know that I'm Syrian, they tell me immediately, "Oh, sorry, we cannot hire you." Give me the reason. They tell you because of the human resources, your status is a refugee. But what makes me what made me sad at the time, that in my status I have all the rights of Belgian citizen inside Belgium, like literally all except voting. That's the only right that I don't have till I get the nationality. But the rest I have all. I don't need work permit. I don't need anything. I'm treated as Belgian inside Belgium. But that didn't matter for them. So in that time I was really getting mad that because I want to work. I'm not used to stay at home doing nothing, receiving social assistance. I don't want that. I don't want to be heavy on anyone. I want to work and to get money for what I did and to live a normal life like anyone. And then the idea of we exist start coming to my head. I started when we exist. I didn't start like in June, you can say, in June 2016, but I published the papers. I did the papers and everything in September. Then we started working, and everything is fine till now.
You're a non-profit organization.
Exactly.
Okay. Um, of course, when you come up with the idea to do something around food, it's always linked to memories. What's some of your favorite childhood memories of Syrian food?
Well, it's exactly about memories. Food always reminds us about our moms. So I'm very inspired by my mom cooking. For me, she's the best chef I ever saw in my life and I will ever see. So she was my inspiration, and it was a way to tell her that I miss you. But I cannot do anything except that. And it was a way that helped me and help other people who are in the same of my situation, who has the same motivation to build something new in our new society, I can say, in the society that we will live in and we are already part of. And yeah.
So, what's some of the basic foods that you would find in Syrian cuisine? When I think of Syria, I think of flatbreads, I think of hummus, I think of those kind of foods. Am I right or am I completely wrong?
No, you are completely right, but you just mentioned very little percentage of the Syrian cuisine. Syrian cuisine is very huge. As you know, that will take us to history. We were protected by French for 40 years. We were under the Ottoman Empire for 400 years, and we are in the Middle East. So we have all the collection of the cuisines. We have the French cuisine, the Ottoman cuisine, the Turkish cuisine, and the Syrian cuisine, the Arab cuisine, and it's all merged in one cuisine, the Syrian cuisine. So our options are very large. So if you cook every day for 3 months a different dish, our menu will not finish. In We Exist, what we do, we don't do what you all normally receive in the restaurants, like barbecues and normal. No, we cook what we our moms cooks at home, like the traditional dishes of Syria, what we cook at home, to transfer the image how we lived or what we were eating in Syria, to show people that our cuisine, to transfer the culture to.
So, what's some of the dishes that you would be cooking at those events?
Uh, I will tell you one of the most favorite dishes for people here. Actually, what I'm doing or what I'm requested to do all the time. One dish is called maklube. This maklube, it's rice cooked with the water of the aubergine, and then you have the fried aubergine on the top with the nuts and the cashew and the meats. This is the most popular dish for here in Belgium. In Brussels, I'm always requested to do this dish all the time. You have so much options. For example, for the dips, you have hummus, you have mutabbal, you have baba ganoush.
What is mutabal?
Mutabbal is barbecued aubergine with yogurt, garlic, tahine, and a bit of salt. And it's a dip. So we eat it.
It sounds delicious. But if I'm not mistaken, baba ganoush is also with that same plant. No.
We have a lot of dips made by eggplant. We are very fan of eggplant. Baba ganoush also is made by eggplant, but with baba ganoush you don't put tahine. Baba ganoush is barbecued aubergine. There is no tahine, there is no yogurt, with vegetables like you put inside onion, garlic, peppers with colors, pomegranate, and pomegranate sauce. So that's baba ganoush. It's a bit different from mutabal. You have also muhammara. It's peppers minced with a bit of olive oil and a bit of yogurt. It's minced together and mixed together, and we serve it with the bread, olive oil, and some cashew nuts on the top. You have also kishke. It's creamy yogurt with parsley, onion, and a bit of bulgur, soft bulgur, and dried mint and olive oil. Dips are huge. I don't think we will have all the time to mention all of them.
All the dips. And so these dips, are they served with the meal? Are they served before the meal?
Before the meal.
Before the meal, so it's like an appetizer.
Exactly. Or it depends what the client asks all the time.
But I mean, we understand that of course your client is going to request things, but let's talk about how you would eat it back home, like how you
we
would
will
eat
eat it back home. We will start with the appetizers, like with the dips, and then we go to the main course, and then we will have the coffee or the tea with some sweets.
So what's a good main course in Syria?
Well, I'm very fan of my favorite one. It's called in Arabic. It's called kusa b'laban. The kusa, it means zucchini. Blaban, it means with yogurt. So we open the zucchini. We have in Syria totally different zucchini than here. Here the zucchini is huge and big. In Syria, zucchinis are the size of your finger. So we open it from the inside, and we fill it with meat and onion, and then we cook it with the yogurt, and then we serve it with rice, and it will be the rice on top of it, the zucchini with cashew nuts, and the zucchini, it will be filled with meat and onion, that it will be on the top with the yogurt.
So there's a couple of ingredients that I've been hearing coming back. A lot of rice, that's like one of the staples. A lot of yogurt, a lot of onions. You've mentioned already. So these are becoming kind of staples of the cuisine. The rice, is it similar to the rice you find here in the supermarket, or is it a completely different style of rice?
Well, yes, it's the same rice, but it's different way to prepare it. We have I saw the Belgian way of preparing rice is totally different.
You
than
put the
our
rice
way.
in the water, you wait till the water boiled the rice, you pour it out.
Yeah, that's not the way that we do the rice. The way that we do the rice, that we, for example, 1 glass of water, 1 glass of rice. And we do it and we let it till the water flies out, and then we eat the rice. We don't put it like this. So we have different way, and we use oil a lot with cooking the rice.
So like olive oil, I assume.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the Middle East has really good olive oil. I would be surprised if Syria does not have olive
We
oil.
have very good olive oil, but unfortunately now it's a bit, we cannot find it anywhere because it's in the war areas, war zones, so it's not producing anymore anytime now. But in the future, hopefully it will come back and we will bring some olive oil from Syria.
And so you've got all these dishes, you've got a lot of ingredients. It sounds like a lot of the things you're using you can find here, except for olive oil. And is it easy to cook authentic Syrian cuisine with the ingredients you find here in Belgium?
Before 2015, it was very hard, as I heard. After 2015, there are a lot of Syrians and there are a lot of Arabs who opened shops, like for example here in Anderlecht or in Molenbeek or even in Excel in Etterbeek. You have Syrian supermarkets who are importing Syrian ingredients, what we need to cook. So I can find actually everything here in Brussels. So it was a problem, but not anymore after, because all the people start finding businesses, opening businesses, starting startups, you know. So not anymore. It was hard, but not anymore.
If we would go to the supermarket, would it be easy to find our way?
It's super easy. Well, for example, you have a supermarket here in Etterbeek. It's called Freshmed. It's very known. He's Syrian, the owner, and you can find literally everything you need there. In Chaussée de Mons, for example, also there are plenty of supermarkets, Syrian supermarkets. Also, you can find everything you need there. So it's not that hard actually. You just need to go to the right place and to ask there, and they will help you immediately.
Um, but so you've decided to start cooking back in 2016. You have one person fully employed right now. How did you find the place to do it? How were people open to the idea, or did it take you a long time to actually get an actual evening going?
Well, actually, people were super open to the idea. I'm telling you, I started with 90 in my mailing list, 90 contacts. In the first day, I had 65 reservations. So it started in a big way. In 65 reservations, I knew majority of them. The evening after, half who were there, I didn't know. And the evening after, I didn't know anyone. So it was always new people, and our mailing list getting larger. People were super open to the idea, and I love the food, and that's one of our very. It gives us very strong push forward, you know.
Let's so out of all the visitors that you have, how many were Syrian? How many are Syrian? How many are other cultures? I'm not going to say just Belgians because Brussels is more than just Belgians. Brussels is also a hotspot of a lot of other nationalities.
Well, actually, we don't have a specific nationality that it come to us. Like literally everywhere, like especially in the restaurant, we always have Syrians who comes. We have and people from everywhere. Like every table, you find different nationalities. We never have like specific nationality who come. It's very We have very international clients, we can say, and that actually make us very happy that we see that people are they like the idea.
Mhm. And so you've got your appetizers, you've got the meal, and then let's talk about drinks and desserts. What's a typical Syrian drink that you would serve with the meal?
Well, in Syria, it depends. Well, in alcohol drinks, we have very good wine. It's always homemade wine, but we cannot import it for the moment because it's very expensive and we don't have a space yet. But when we'll have the space, I will do my best to bring Syrian wine. And we have rakia. It's like the raki that you know, with a lot of NS, and we drink that a lot also in Syria. And for not non-alcoholic, we drink tea or coffee after the meal. It's very or yogurt. We drink ayran sometimes, if you know.
Is it different from the Turkish ayran?
We put garlic in it.
You put garlic in it.
Yeah.
That's very different.
It's very different. The garlic changed totally the whole taste.
So Turkey is a neighboring country of Syria.
Yeah.
In Belgium and Holland, there is a discussion going about whose mayonnaise is better. Even though it shouldn't be a discussion, Belgian mayonnaise is the best. Is it the same thing with Turkey? Is it like a Syrian Iran or a Turkish Iran? Is there a discussion?
Not with Turkey. We have that with Lebanon.
About Iran or a different product?
About everything.
About everything.
Because Syrian cuisine, Lebanese cuisine, it's not slightly different, not that big difference, but it always, as you know, as any two neighbor country, it always the final touch, what makes it different, but it's not that big difference. But our meals are more fatty.
Mhm.
I prefer ours actually, and I say it's the original. Lebanese say about that about their cuisine, but at the end, it's like the same but different touches, you know. But you have from city to another different meals. Like for example, in Syria, you have 14 city. Every city has their special meal. In Lebanon, also every city you have their special meal that the other cities they don't know how to do it.
Mhm.
So
What's the Damascus one?
Damascus, we are very known about, as I said, maklube. We have kapse. One meal is called kapse. It's rice. We make it with curry, become yellow rice, and chicken on the top cooked with it. We have the kousa blaban, that one that I told you. This is very known about Damascus. The zucchini filled with meat and the onion and rice. This is very known in Damascus, and it's the specialty actually of Damascus.
So let's say Raqqa. Raqqa is also a Syrian city.
Raqqa, yes.
So what's their specialty?
Raqqa, they have this. They cook this mansaf. It's kind of rice with a lot of meat, and it's super fatty. And they cook it under the ground. They know.
So it's like long and low and slow temperatures.
Yeah, it takes like they make a hole in the desert. They put the sheep. They put the rice. They put all the ingredients. They have their way. I'm not an expert with Raqqa food. It's a bit different. Then they close it for 8 hours. Then they take it out and they eat it. But it's one of the best meat I ever tasted in my life.
And so you've mentioned sheep. Sheep is probably a big supplier of meat or an animal that's used a lot. Do you guys do a lot of beef, a lot of other meats?
We do a lot of meat, and we have a huge also options for vegetarian and for vegan people. Like it's not always with meat. We have like half of our menu or more than half vegetarian, and when it's required to have vegan, we have a lot of options also for vegan people. So there is no
So without changing the recipe, it's
exactly.
just
We
vegan
just
already.
it's vegan already. For example, we have one one dish is called ملوخية. ملوخية, it's the mallow. It's in English it's called mallow pepper, and it's kind of a green leaf. It's vegan because it's cooked with the garlic, bit of onion, salt, pepper, some spices, and water, a bit of oil. That's it.
So if you are having a dinner in the restaurant, do people get a menu or do you more like a buffet style evening?
In the restaurant, I always do. They get a menu, but they will get everything on the menu.
So it's like a tasting menu, literally.
Exactly. I give 3 dips, then we go 3 main courses, and then we go to the sweets and to the drinks.
Do you change the menu
Every time. Every time the menu is changed, because you have always people, like some people they come all the time, and some people are new, but we have to change the menu every time. So every time we do an event is a different menu.
Okay, and so let's finally get to the desserts now. Obviously, if you like Lebanese, Turkish cuisine, if you know a little bit about that, sweets and desserts are famous, are very important in a meal.
Yeah.
Baklava, etc. What's the big differences you've got there? Why is Syrian?
It's the
Why
same.
is the Syrian one better?
To be honest, we use less sugar. It's a bit ours. It's a bit less, much less sugar, and you can feel the cashew nuts and the nuts inside much more. You can feel the taste, but it's all baklava. We do also like any international sweets, tiramisu, rice and milk. Like it's all the same, but always you have the Syrian touch. Less sugar, more sugar. We put more ingredients. Sometimes we put the water of the flour.
The rose water.
The rose water we put sometimes. It depends on the sweet, but mainly we do baklava, we do knafe, we do nabilsiye. It's kind of a knafe, but it's more soft.
Just for the
under
people that
cheese.
don't know what a knafe is, can you explain?
A knafe, it's cheese from down and some long spaghettis up, and we separate it from each other, and then we put them on a round plate, and then we put it on the oven. So in the top you will have a brown layer, and that it's very sweet. Then we put sugar on the top, and you have the salty cheese under it, melt cheese under it, and it's a mix between two tastes, sweet and salt together.
Yeah, for people who haven't tried it, if you can find a Syrian bakery or supermarket, I highly recommend it because it's super delicious. As he said, the difference between salty and sweet is such a good combination.
You need to try it.
If people want to come and visit, if people want to come try the food, if they want to have you do your catering, where can people find you?
They can find us through our Facebook page, our website. Our website is www.weexist.be. Our Facebook page, it's We Exist NGO, and they will find us immediately. You will find our photo with our logo. Our slogan is made by Syrians for everyone. And you can contact us, as I said, by email or through the Facebook page.
All right, Obada, thank you so much for taking the time for talking with me. I'm very excited to try more Syrian cuisine. I'm going to keep an eye open for Syrian supermarkets and other stuff. Voor iedereen die geluisterd heeft en die dit ook een openbaring vond, hopelijk kun je dit gerust delen met andere mensen. Zo krijgen we altijd meer luisteraars. Het zou ook leuk zijn moest je een review kunnen nalaten op het platform waar je luistert. Dat helpt ons om andere mensen deze podcast te laten ontdekken. En zoals altijd kun je meer informatie vinden op onze website www.overetenpodcast.be. Obada, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Dit was Over Eten, een podcast over eten. Voor meer informatie, show notes, foto's, behind the scenes en meer, bezoek ons op www.overetenpodcast.be. Dankjewel voor het luisteren en tot binnenkort.